So yesterday I made a TikTok video about why preschool is bad. And this video is getting a lot of hate, so I figured, well, I'll make a YouTube video and explain more what I meant by that. So basically, when I was saying that preschool is bad, I mostly am talking about the fact that parents in our society are starting to be conditioned, if not already conditioned, to believe that preschool is necessary. And the belief there is that preschool is necessary to prepare kids for kindergarten. So we've got 3 and 4 year olds now preparing for school for a whole childhood of school, and now they're starting at 3 and 4. So the reason that I made the video is because what I think is bad is the fact that we're sending kids at all. Kids already have to start going to school at 5. Used to be, a long time ago, that kindergarten was the preschool of now. That used to be what was preparing kids for the rest of school. Getting used to the idea of school, playing, getting used to being around their peers. Now, I don't want to get into school here, because if you know me, you already know that I don't believe in school, period. But this is specifically about preschool. So now, they're talking about universal preschool because there's a gap right now. The really good preschools are also quite expensive. So you send your kid to a good preschool because you can afford it. And then now they start kindergarten and they're going to be ahead, as you will, of their peers who didn't get access to such a preschool. So, there are lawmakers out there and politicians out there who want to make universal preschool a thing for, the whole country. And so that would mean that instead of, choosing a private preschool, now and some states already offer such a thing, such a program, but so now your kid would just go to the public school, but instead of starting in kindergarten, they will go starting pre-K. So now what are we doing here? Now we are basically adding another year of school on to our children's lives. So whereas before, when I was growing up, most kids started at kindergarten, some went to preschool, but it was really more kind of like daycare. But I'm not talking about daycare here, by the way. This is specifically about school, preparing our kids for school younger than they really should be. So many 3 and 4 year olds are just not developmentally ready. So many 3 and 4 year olds are just not developmentally ready for a school environment. Many of them aren't ready to be away from home yet. And we're being made to believe that this is necessary for all children. We're being made to believe that our children will be behind their peers in kindergarten if they do not go to preschool. Now, see, this is where I have the problem, because obviously my kids aren't going to kindergarten or any other school anyway, but if they were, I definitely, I didn't realize when I had my daughter that we were never going to send her to school, but I always knew we weren't going to send her to preschool. And think about this, the reason I knew that we weren't going to send her to preschool is because it was expensive. I worked from home and my husband didn't go into work until the afternoon. So we never had to do daycare, which is also expensive. And we weren't going to waste money on preschool either. And see, that's the problem there. Now, we're not an underprivileged, family that, we're not in that bracket, but we also don't have a ton of money either, so we're not wealthy. So we weren't, we figured we'll save the thousands of dollars on preschool. We can use it for something else, right? So now if we had not decided to if we had decided that we were going to send our daughter to school, now she would have gotten to kindergarten and she would have been judged as behind because we didn't send her to preschool. And it wasn't only a financial decision. Also, I liked being with my daughter. She's a baby to me still at 3, even 4. I wasn't ready to part with her. Being made to feel like I had to, that's a problem to me. making parents feel like if they don't send their kids to school now even earlier, they're going to be behind. That's the problem I have. So instead of people coming at me saying that I'm shaming other moms for sending their kids to school, what about moms like me being shamed for not sending our kids to preschool? You know, I have friends that made the same decision. They're certainly sending their kids to public school at you know, the age of kindergarten, but they're not sending them to preschool, and it's specifically because of money. So see, now what's going to happen is they're going to come out with universal preschool for everybody, and now those parents that would have kept their kids home purely due to money, well, now they're going to send them to preschool because they're going to say, okay, well, it's free, I don't have to pay for it. And that's going to be the norm. And so now schools are going to just start at age 4, and that's it for everybody. And that's where I have the problem. We're just taking too much childhood away from our kids. We're not giving them enough chance to just be kids. So sure, now preschool is fun. It's arts and crafts and play and getting to socialize with your peers. But what's it going to be once it's universal? I'm telling you, it's going to be the new kindergarten. It's going to be now 4-year-olds are getting homework. Now 4-year-olds are sitting in desks doing worksheets or whatever. Now 3-year-olds are going to have homework. I mean, I'm not joking around here. I know I probably sound crazy, but I'm not trying to shame anybody. I'm not trying to make anybody feel bad. I'm the one that feels bad. I feel bad that I can't afford Montessori preschool, because I think those are really nice, and maybe I would have sent my kids to school if I could have afforded that, but I can't. So because there's other people like me out there, many people with a lot less privilege than I have, many people that would probably love to send their kids to a really high quality preschool, and they know, you know, that they're going to be sending their kids to school long term, but they can't afford to. So since there are people that can't afford it, now they're going to make it free for everybody. So now it's going to be the norm, and now everyone's going to be expected that you send your kids to school now at 4 instead of 5, and then it'll be 3. And that's what I have the problem with. Kids need more of a childhood. They don't need to be starting school. Why is preschool becoming necessary? Because kids are behind in kindergarten because they didn't have access to preschool. How is that our concern here? How is our concern that a 5-year-old is behind their peers? 5 years old, that is so little. It's so little. So that's my whole issue here, is that we're just pushing back, and it's going to bleed backwards into now preschool is going to be mandatory, or at least implied that it's mandatory. Parents are going to ship their kids off to preschool at 4. That's going to be the public school thing. So now all the parents that have the money, well, they're going to start their kids at 3 in the private good preschools. Well, you know what if they're going to say, well, 3, you'll have pre-K at 3. Now we'll give universal kindergarten starting, or universal pre-kindergarten. Now we'll start it at age 3. Okay, so what now? The people with money, what are they going to start sending their kids to the best preschools at age 2? I mean, this is where I have the problem. So I did not mean any harm. I was not trying to make any parents feel badly. I was not trying to shame anybody. I'm the one that feels bad. I don't want people to think that our kids need to be going to school this young. Again, I'm not sending them at all, but if I was, I certainly wouldn't have until kindergarten. And I think even if I was wealthy, unless, you know, maybe I'd have a whole different mindset. I don't know. But let's say I had an extra 10 grand sitting around. I still don't think I would have sent my child at that young age, even as an only child. People talk about socialization and, you know, getting to interact with their peers. But I mean, it's not like we didn't do that, just not in a school setting. And I think that's okay. And I think a lot of parents are being made to feel now that that's not okay, because then they're going to be behind in kindergarten. And that's the problem that I have. So I hope that makes some sense. I hope that cleared things up a bit. Thanks for watching.